Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Running Wild Podcast. I'm your co-host Rich, alongside me as always, my co-host Runz.
Ready to rumble. Yes, the David Arquette movie. That's where I was going.
Oh man, former WCW champion. Anyway, I just want to remind you before we get started that we're brought to you in partnership with pwponderings.com, lastwordonprowrestling.com, as well as rohworld.com. And we're featured on the Wrestling to the Max network. All right, so this is our special Rumble edition. There's really nothing else to talk about. I mean, we have the NXT, but it's Rumble weekend, really, was what we can call it. So we'll be covering most of the events from this week's shows as we go along. Would you like to begin with NXT?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So first, you have Ty Dillinger versus Eric Young. I feel like Dillinger needs to win always, but I don't know. I feel like this is a big debut for Young.
Yeah, but he just right, like he doesn't win, and he's just that guy. You know, he's a good hand. He puts over guys. He's over, and every time it's a good match. You know, maybe he gets a surprising win here. You know, it would surprise me at least, but I think you're right. It's Eric Young's kind of first big moment, you know, with the company and with NXT. So I think he needs to get the win. And especially, you know, it's funny, like everyone who keeps getting called up from the roster, and, you know, literally now they can call up Shinsuke because Rude and Young and Dillinger, you have Hero coming, Roddy is there. If Almost picks up some steam, you know, potentially O'Reilly, like you don't miss anything. That's it. It's ready to go. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then, you know, interesting that Triple H the other day said that he's not really happy with NXT right now.
Did he expand, or he just said that?
He was basically like that it's not at the level that it once was in terms of like viewership and people being behind it.
I'll tell you this: I barely watch NXT, and that's not a necessary. You know, it's not a byproduct of the show. It's just I can't watch that much wrestling every week. It's too much. And so, you know, that and 205 Live kind of take a back seat. And if I have some time, I put it on and I watch it. But, you know, I know what's going on. I know who the players are. And not that I don't like any of them. I pretty much am behind them all. But I just kind of wait for the takeover. It's like, okay, I know. I read the spoilers when they first come in. It's months worth of stuff, and then that's it. I read them every week, and I go from.
Well, you know, I kind of feel the same way by and large. Part of the issue that I'm having is, you know, I too am just tired from watching it. Like this weekend alone, okay, and I guess indie wrestling doesn't count, but I'm going to count it, right? I'm going to watch Evolve tonight, and then I'm going to watch Evolve tomorrow, and then I'm going to watch NXT, and then I'm going to put on the Royal Rumble pre-show at 5 fucking o'clock, okay, and not turn that shit off till 11. And then I gotta watch Monday Night Raw, and because there's a fucking draft, I gotta watch SmackDown. And
there's a draft?
Well, because of the draft, right? Like, it's not like I can watch Raw for the fallout from Rumble and then just ignore SmackDown. Like, now I have to watch both of them, right? Like, yo...
And, I mean, SmackDown has been the better show, so you'd want to watch that.
I have a son. What am I going to do? Like, I don't know how I'm going to pull off this weekend.
It's quality time, huh? Hanging out with Dad, watching wrestling.
Like, I think I might go slip something, like, I'm going to make my wife, like, a martini and get that to her, like, in an hour so I can start watching Evolve without any argument.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to the next NXT show, sorry.
Not sure if you want to say that on the air, you know.
I don't think she listens anymore. She used to listen, but I don't think anymore. So we have Roderick Strong versus the man I hate the man. I've never thought I'd hate a man in a fedora this much, but I just, it's not that I think he's a bad wrestler. Andrade Cien Almas. I just, you know, I want Strong to win. Like, I root against Almas.
Yeah, I mean, Almas is he's solid in the ring, but he never really connected with me And Roddy is Roddy. He's awesome, and I don't see any reason why he loses here. I mentioned him just a few minutes ago when I was mentioning, the guys who are poised to have a big impact this year and beyond with NXT, and he's at the top of that list. He's been there for a little bit now. He's had some matches under his belt. I wish Aries didn't get hurt and we could have seen what happened with that team, because them winning the tag tournament and the titles and possibly then feuding afterwards, that would have been fantastic to watch. So, obviously now that's split up a little bit, but I believe Roddy is under 205, right? So technically at some point, he doesn't have to be on the main roster. He could always end up 205 Live and, fight with the guys like Neville and Swan and Alexander, etc.
Yeah, but I think what they're doing with him, and as well as another guy, or two more guys that we're going to talk about next, right? DIY. I think they're keeping them off of 205 because they see them as more than just cruiserweights. I don't think they see TJP as being a part of their main roster.
Right, and I get that. There are some guys who, the Mustafa Ali's and those kind of guys who are getting that spotlight on 205 Live that would never be on Raw. But there's also the Aries and maybe Cedric Alexander and Neville, and definitely Rich Swann has earned the spot, and Kendrick. Mm-hmm. There are guys who are talented enough, but because of their stature, Roddy being a beast on 205 Live is cooler than him being what Sami Zayn was doing before this whole Strowman stuff happened. That's better for him. So I'm not saying I want to see him on 205 Live, but I could see it happening, and I wouldn't be mad at, because it's like ROH, or not ROH. That's it's the smaller guys. So Roddy is the things he does in there, tossing people around into his knees and the suplexes. Not that he can't do that to the Rusevs, but it'll look a little funny.
True. All right, I get your point. What do you think about DIY? Two other guys who are under 205 versus the Authors of Pain for the NXT tag team titles.
It will be interesting to see what's going on. I don't think DIY is splitting anytime soon, but it's always a possibility. It's always just one false step away. And what happens with the Authors of Pain? How do they lose?
That's the problem I see here, because they're undefeated, right?
Yeah.
So
and it's not like it's not even like they're small guys and undefeated. They're just they're monsters.
The thing is, though, I mean, I feel like, okay, when we had the height of Super Cena-dom, right? They built dudes just to lose to Cena, right? I mean, DIY's whole thing is that they're underdogs. Can they prove that they're the ultimate underdogs by beating the undefeated giants that are about to go up against them?
I think they lose this one, and then the story becomes them trying to overcome this mountain, and can they do it? Is it even possible? And maybe they do, maybe they don't at the next show. But either way, I think, your underdog story works, but if they lose those titles, I think that's where this has to go.
That's why, sir, when we start a promotion, I give you the book, and I'll go outside and shake hands when everyone walks in, because that'll be a far better role. Then you have the.
I mean, between me, you, and our friend Pat, we would have the wrestling promotions booking on. Oh man, storylines for days. But anyway, continue.
I would have so much fun. All right, Asuka
so
versus.
You're agreeing with Authors of Pain?
Yeah, I mean, you convinced me on that one.
I'm looking forward to this match. From what I've seen of the Authors of Pain, I've really enjoyed their work. I love that, like Cheers powerbomb that they do. That's awesome. So I'm not going to be mad if they win titles.
Well, I will, because I like DIY, but
Right. I like DIY, but I think them winning the belts is the right move. I think that's the right way to go with this.
I know, it's Johnny Gargano, so I'll get upset.
Right. Yeah, but I also look forward to Gargano and Ciampa as singles,
Yeah, I know.
I
He's crazy.
and I also disagree with you in the same way with Roddy. As I think both of these guys could end up as cruiserweights, and again, Ciampa dominating, like Gargano being that underdog and getting the time to sell those stories and sell the people. And, it's not a permanent thing. Who knows? They always go back and forth, so we'll see.
I hope the reason I don't want this to start to be like a pipeline to 205 Live is all these guys are leaving the indies and signing with WWE, because they want that WrestleMania moment. And I feel like what's happening is because of them being smaller, they're being kept, like on 205 Live, and they're not getting a chance to like integrate with the regular roster where these guys were killing it where they were beforehand.
Right. I agree with that. It handcuffs them. It limits, put the ceiling on really where they can go. But I don't know. Maybe in the future it doesn't always work that way. Maybe there is some cross promotion. A guy. But that's what I mean. In a guy like Gargano, a guy like Roddy or Ciampa, or whatever, you can have some sort of. You can have them on 205 Live on Raw as the cruiserweights, whatever the case. And then at some point on Raw, they're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and Strowman knocks out Gargano or something like that happens, and then you have that crossover, and now he's on Raw and he gets a win over someone, and then you go from there, building up that character.
Oh, totally. I'm in complete agreement. We'll see what happens, though. All right, then the last match is going to be Rude versus the...
Asuka?
Oh, wait, sorry. I just skipped that one because I thought I said it. Asuka versus Nikki Cross versus... I lost it. My apologies. So it's NXT champion Asuka in a four-way match against Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, and Nikki Cross.
I don't see Asuka losing this. I think WrestleMania weekend, or whatever, the night before, we're going to get Asuka and Ember Moon, and that's going to be where Asuka drops it, and then she'll be on the next Takeover, and then she'll be on Raw.
No, yeah, I totally agree with you. I don't see her dropping it to any of these ladies here. I just don't. It doesn't make sense. I don't know.
They've been trying to. They're working with the Billie Kays and the Peyton Royces, and then they're doing a good job. And Nikki Cross is with Sanity, so that's a good look for them. So they're doing a good job getting these women out there, getting them on TV. But Ember Moon is the next one to hold that belt.
Yeah.
None of these women are Asuka's level,
No, definitely not. All right, and the last match is Bobby Roode versus Nakamura.
Before you even start, this shall be glorious.
Yeah, I'm really... Okay, so I want Bobby Roode to win. I like Nakamura, but I like Bobby Roode that much more. He's money. And
if Shinsuke loses, he's in the Rumble.
I'm fine with that.
Probably not, but oh man.
That would be absolute insanity.
But anyway, go ahead.
So no, I just think it's time for Shinsuke to move on. And I think that this is a good time, just kind of work him to Mania and put him in a match with a couple of other guys, so he kind of just starts to... him coming out of WrestleMania, because that's what you got to think about, right? It's going to translate. It's going to happen. Can you imagine how many thousands of people can be in that arena?
It would really be a shame to not have that guy on WrestleMania, but you literally could have Samoa Joe, who's not on NXT and hasn't been on NXT for the month. So you could have him show up in the Rumble, You could have Shinsuke show up in the Rumble, them have some sort of interaction, and boom, you're on Mania. They've been feuding all year anyway. So you could end up with something like that. Or you could end up with something for the NXT title on WrestleMania. But I don't know, because they also have the NXT show on the night before. So it depends. I think it's tough because they're both so hot right now in NXT, and I agree with you that Shinsuke should be on Raw. Like, there's no question about that. But
well, SmackDown.
It'll be interesting to see if they pull the trigger.
SmackDown
for sure.
Because it's just, I don't know. They're so much better. I heard that Road Dogg is writing.
Yeah, good, and he knows what the hell he's doing. If Shinsuke enters the Rumble, he wins. That's what I think.
No, I can't agree with that.
Shinsuke versus AJ Styles, WrestleMania. Kidding me? Yeah, thanks.
Okay, I gotta move on. All right, so let's move on to Royal Rumble. Jeez, if he comes out and wins,
one of my kids at work today was like, "Who if they enter the Rumble, would you like go crazy?" And I was like, "I don't know." And he was like, "CM Punk," and I was just like, "Yo, man, just stop. I don't even want to think about it." He was like, "Yo, him against Shinsuke, him against this guy," and I was just like, "Stop it, kid! Like, you're killing me right now." Because Punk against Nakamura and Joe in WWE, Balor, Rollins, and it's just ugh.
It does seem unfair.
It's brutal, man.
All right.
Just think about, not to put a damper on all of these things, but just think about if things went better for him with the company and Daniel Bryan was healthy. It's an absurd roster right now.
I don't know if we've ever seen. I mean, I'm trying to think if there's any time that we've seen one that big. One injury and just years of miscommunication or awkwardness, whatever you want to, disagreements with Punk and WWE, and then just Bryan's unfortunate injuries. It's not even fair. Then throw in let's EC3, Galloway, and Cody, who were all under contract and all just kind of fizzled out. Man, it's a different. Everyone is so much higher on this current roster if those 5 guys are on it. But at some point, right? Like, at some point, it's like somebody's not going to get pushed, even if you have all that talent. Like, somebody who deserves it is going to get just not
right. And this right now, you couldn't sign those 3 guys and use them. But I'm saying if they kept them around, and Galloway was the chosen one and won a world title, and Cody had won a world title, and EC3 was just around IC title reigns, then you have 3 guys who now are in their primes and found a character. Yes, maybe it took them going on the indies and getting that fire, whatever the case, but it's a different game, because then you have stars. Galloway was a 3-4 time champion and Money in the Bank winner over the last 10 years. And that's a big difference in terms of a big name,
Wow. I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I think that eventually someone would be devalued. But
we're already losing guys just because there's not enough time. So I completely agree. I'm just saying, replace any 4 guys on the roster with them.
Oh, that makes sense. All right, well, let's move on to Rumble, bro. We got an email to get to this week.
Nice. I have, all week it's just been, let's just get to Friday, and that's it. We have some Evolve shows the next 2 days, NXT tomorrow night, and then the Rumble. And the Rumble, I think we've discussed a couple times, is my favorite match of the year. There's nothing like it. Watching them back is pretty horrendous because once you know who wins,
you can't do that.
There's no suspense. It's horrible. I've watched them all at least twice in the last 2 months, just leading up to this. So the first time watching them, I already know. So now the second, it's just like, holy shit, I don't even want to watch these things. But got to kill some time at night.
All right. I can't rewatch those. I do it for
throw them on and
WrestleMania.
go to sleep. See, like some of the title matches are good and entertaining. Some of the guys who come back are like, oh, okay, I forgot about that appearance. But, if you can't watch a Rumble, then Stone Cold wins. That's okay.
I remember loving that one, but I can't.
Right, like they're great. The Ric Flair one is the only one because Bobby Heenan is the most entertaining commentator ever on that Rumble match. But every other one, it's just like, okay, once this guy's in the ring, like, oh, okay, this is the Rumble where he wins. I won't watch the Chris Paul one for obvious reasons. So 2005, 4, whatever that is, sucks for you.
I just won't watch them again. So
I just love the Rumble match so much. It's entertaining.
All right. So for the Rumble, we start off with Nia Jax versus Bayley. Not Bayley. I'm sorry. Nia Jax versus Sasha Banks.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Bayley's bum knee is going to cost her the match. She's still not 100%.
It's Sasha Banks. Really?
Yeah. So
you said Bayley's. You said Bayley's bum knee.
Oh, I don't know why I keep thinking it's Bayley because she's wrestling later in the night. No, it's definitely Sasha. Yeah, I just don't think she's healed enough, in terms of kayfabe.
Right, and I think you need to establish Nia as a monster, and you can have Sasha put up a hell of a fight, and then Nia just does something like, oh, the knee gave away. That's it, done. So I think the story is in place, and I think these are the two right people to get the job done, and I think we'll see Nia go over. Especially on the pre-show. Yeah,
because those don't matter.
Nope. There's like 7 matches because it's 2 hours long.
Statwife was like, why is Sasha on the pre-show? And I was like laughing. I was like, well, this is what happens when you have too much.
Right, because there's 7 other matches and a Rumble.
We have a tag team championship match, Cesaro versus the Club. Also part of the kickoff.
That is on the kickoff?
Yep. On the WWE website. I'm reading the card from WWE website. I think the Club wins?
If it was on the pay-per-view, I would agree with you. I don't think we get a title change on the pre-show. I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter, but I don't know. If it was on the show, I would think this could be a time to break up I'm not saying it, Cesaro and Sheamus. And I almost just said it because it kind of flows when I just think of Cesaro and Sheamus. It
rolls
starts
up
to just come right. It just starts to come out, but
yes.
It's like a tongue twister.
I'm so excited.
But yeah, I think the Club could win, and then we see them at WrestleMania. But I don't know if that happens on the pre-show.
I think because
there's
it's the
2 referees, I think that helps the good guys.
I think because it's the Club, that's going to happen.
What, they're going to win? Is that what you're saying?
Like, I think that they've kind of even in celebrating the Club, they will make them look lower than they really are.
I didn't catch what you said first. You said
because it's the Club, because they haven't made a big deal about them, so they'll end up winning the titles at a
on the pre-show no one cares. I got
yeah.
I mean, it's not a bad call. I'm still just hoping somehow the Club just ends up on SmackDown with AJ. That will hurt AJ inevitably. as the babyface in the long run, but whatever. I'd rather see them with him.
I don't know. I just feel like if you don't give the club the victory soon, like what's gonna happen? Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like how far
Because
can they go?
just feuded with Day right? Before this for 2 months.
Say that again?
They just feuded with the New Day, right? For like 2 months before
and lost.
this feuding for the title. So this is 3 or 4 straight pay-per-views of them going after the belts. Yeah, you're right. The pre-show was such a wrench in the plans, man.
I hate the pre-show because the pre-show also then throws off my, opening match winning thing. That annoys me.
Yeah, I guess we just have to look at this as part of the show that, got forced to the pre-show because of the Rumble.
Well, I just feel bad for the club, but it is what it is. All right.
Hope they get this win and they get some spotlight.
Also on the pre-show, Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella, and Naomi versus Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, and Natalya.
I didn't even know this was a match until like earlier today.
Did you watch SmackDown?
Yes.
Oh, well, because, I guess it makes sense, right? I mean, with Mickey's promo and everything.
Right, it 100% makes sense. And I think my student told me about it, and I was like, oh, that's why Naomi had that whole thing with Alexa on SmackDown. Now it makes sense. They just needed a third person. So it wrapped that all up for me. And I was like, oh, okay, this will be fun. It's better than having the 2 separate matches because you need Mickie involved or you need Alexa involved. So that'll be good. It'll be back in the ring on the main roster on the big show. And, I'm looking forward to this a little bit.
I kind of am too, but maybe just don't call it the pre-show anymore.
Well, that's why they call it the kickoff.
Whatever. I mean, okay, but just don't call it that either.
Yeah. What do you want to just say the Royal Rumble is 7 hours and for the first 2 we're going to cut into it with random backstage segments and commentary.
Yeah, thinking about the kickoff right now makes me want one of those energy drinks.
Of course, as always.
So bad. Every time I see them, I'm like, man, they're just sitting there. I guess you're right. All right. So
who goes over? The bad girls? I think Mickie gets the win, right?
Yeah. She just came back. Mickie gets the pin.
Becky to set up WrestleMania. Becky and Mickie.
That works. Yeah.
Right. I like that. I would actually like to see that at WrestleMania, so that would be cool.
I mean, they could go crazy and have Naomi pin Alexa.
Maybe they do Naomi Alexa at Mania, but wouldn't you rather if you don't have the women's belt in it, then Becky Naomi is meaningless. I mean, Bliss Naomi is meaningless. But wouldn't you rather have the women's belt on Mickie and Becky for that match?
No, listen, at Mania, if you have 2 women's matches for
maybe
titles,
a 4-way.
There's not. I think maybe Mania could be off. Yeah, Becky, Naomi, Alexa, and Mickie.
And what about Nikki? What about Natty? Jesus, man.
Nikki,
SmackDown. But this is Nikki and Natty.
They can. I don't know, man.
Right.
I mean, you would think it would be a singles blow-off.
Natty's kind of, I guess, because they're not going to fight at the Rumble. It'll be interesting to see, Elimination Chamber, what happens with that. And didn't they kind of tip their hand with, hey, we know the Royal Rumble is going to crown a challenger for the championship, but SmackDown's going to crown one, too, at the Elimination Chamber. Didn't they kind of tip their hand that the winner's going to challenge for the Royal Belt?
Yes. Right?
I mean, I guess they always could just have the chamber match for the belt and the challenger waiting to see. Yeah, see?
I'm a loss for words because here's my issue. I would hope that WWE, which is a giant machine with so many people responsible for promotion, for writing things up, for checking things in a storyline, I would hope that they would realize that if they make an announcement about Elimination Chamber and basically throw away the fact that a SmackDown guy can win and then adhere to that, then I think it's like you're scratching your head looking at them going, why would you do that?
Right.
I would hope that they're better than that.
I feel like they did. Raw is seen as the bigger show. There are the Goldbergs and the Brocks and the Takers are all there. That's where their possible returning Valor is. So I can see that as one of, those may be the four favorites to win it or four of the favorites to win it. But there's something in me, and we'll get to this more when we talk about the match, but there's something in me that says it's not any of those guys, and this is going to be maybe not out of left field, but a little bit off the cuff.
All right, let's move along so we can get to that. We have Weird Ears Neville versus Rich Swann for the Cruiserweight title. All right. I'm going to have to go with Neville here. I think that he needs the belt almost to continue his heel run, and not that like Rich Swann doesn't deserve the belt or that he hasn't been a good champion at all. It's just that Neville is this like larger than life character, and I think he needs the belt right now.
Neville is great, and he finally got the voice and finally found the character to fit everything else he does in the ring. So he's money right now. I love the heel character. I love what he's doing. He has to win this belt. He has to be the poster boy for 205 Live, at least until WrestleMania, and, presumably beyond that. But, give me a Neville and Cedric Alexander at WrestleMania. Give me a Neville and Roddy at some point. That's perfect. You need that kind of heel champion to bring in those baby faces, and Swann has been great as the champion. He's definitely gotten over. He's won a lot of the fans. So I'm glad to see that, and hopefully he doesn't just kind of fall backwards.
I think
one thing
he'll handle it. He can handle this. Hmm? That's all I was going to say. Sorry.
One thing I hate about the cruiserweights right now is like every Monday or every other Monday, whatever it is, there's like, oh hey, this guy is debuting. Clearly, that guy's getting the win. Like, why? Give me a hype video. I don't know. Once you do a hype video, that guy's winning.
Yeah, and it makes it seem like it's just weird. I mean, when a guy comes in, he should win, I guess, but it also
right.
It's weird. They should have just had them all start at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah.
But whatever. I mean, they're debuting them, and then they're hoping that you'll watch 205 Live. So.
Right. It's not necessarily working, but all
right. Charlotte versus Becky.
Incorrect.
So, I don't think...
Charlotte and Bayley, you mean?
What did I say? Becky?
Becky.
Jesus. My apologies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're all so good, that's why I'm getting confused.
So I don't know. What do you think here?
This is tough, but Charlotte isn't losing the belt until WrestleMania, and I want to see Charlotte win by some nefarious means here, and then Bayley gets that big moment, that big huge pop at WrestleMania. Everyone goes nuts for her beating Charlotte, conquering the Queen, all that jazz, and we roll with Bayley, and we get Bayley and Sasha at some point.
Yeah, I think that maybe a triple threat at WrestleMania I could see with Sasha getting in, or even Nia.
I don't want to do that. See, I don't want to do that again. What I was just thinking is you have Bayley beat Charlotte, and you have the ultimate babyface now in peril, Sasha, upset Nia, beat Nia, and so you have them two win, and then that sets up both of their pushes to coincide at some point where Sasha turns on Bayley.
All right. I mean, But so you think that Charlotte definitely holds on to it here? Does something have to happen though?
I think, maybe she wins by hook in the tights or feet on the ropes or just something. I think she wins by something like that, pokes her in the eye while the ref isn't looking, and hits her with the finisher, something along those lines where she gets the win by cheating a little bit.
That would kind of like, I think, keep Bailey alive. Because they've already done the injury angle kind of with that one match, so
they've done the injuries.
And Sasha doesn't, not Sasha. Charlotte doesn't lose at
pay-per-views.
So that's it.
So she's not losing until WrestleMania, if even, So they've done the injury angle. They are playing up that Bailey has 2 or 3 wins over Charlotte. So that's going to be in the back of Charlotte's head. So she cheats to get the win. Yeah, and like you said, you keep Bailey alive, you make her character even stronger and more sympathetic, and you go from there.
Agreed. All right, moving on, we have Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship.
Both of these championship matches terrify me.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm going to say this. This one scares me more than Cena and AJ.
I'm not. I think we mentioned this last week. Like, if one of these guys had to lose the belt, like, who would we pick? It's impossible. It is physically, mentally, it is an impossible decision for me to make. I'm extremely worried that both of them lose the belts. I don't know. I hope that Kevin Owens can somehow get this win here, and I'm thrilled that Roman Reigns looked strong on Monday, and that doesn't eliminate him from winning on Sunday, but usually that's the logic. So I'm hoping Kevin Owens wins somehow by hook or by crook, and maybe we get a Balor win in the Rumble to set up that for Mania.
Yeah, that's the only thing we can hope. I mean, there are times I haven't seen one of these matches in a long time, but I know I have. I think like Paul Ellering, wasn't he one of those?
Yeah.
Did he interfere? Didn't he like somehow still get in the way?
No, well, I mean, he was in one with like LOD and the Rock and Roll Express or something like that, and then he was just in it on NXT with the Authors of Pain and TM61, and he just was above the ring, no problem. They destroyed TM61. That was it. It was over. And we were like, what the hell? Why? Okay, I guess that was fine. But I think you're going to see something from Jericho here. He's not just going to be in the cage chilling. He's going to be a part of this match in some way.
Yeah, like maybe dropping like a pair of brass knucks or something like
brilliant.
that. Just like that's something he could just have in his tights, right?
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. He does something like that. Owens nails him, hits the pop-up powerbomb, gets the win. Reigns looks fine, and we go from there.
You know what would scare me, though? If there's one of those moments where he gets hit with the brass knucks and it's still not enough.
Right. And then Reigns wins, and we get Owens and Jericho at WrestleMania. And
you can't put a man in a cage. I don't even know why this is okay to be signed. Why is that okay? How legally? I want to understand.
Because Jericho agreed, I guess. That's it.
All right. So,
who are we picking?
God, you know what? I don't care that I'm supposed to think things out. It's Royal Rumble. I want Kevin Owens to win. I'm picking Kevin Owens.
All right, I'm picking Roman Reigns.
It's so annoying because you're probably right.
Well, I don't want to be right.
I know you don't, and I don't want to be right either. I mean, I want to be right. I just with
you better hope you're right, because that's the only chance Sami Zayn has at winning the Royal Rumble. Imagine that. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens for the WWE Universal title.
If Sami Zayn wins the Royal Rumble,
in the main event of WrestleMania. Yeah.
If he wins the Royal Rumble, I'm having a heart attack. No, it's right there on the spot.
Oh man.
I just don't even. Oh, and he comes out like with a mask on. Woo! All right. So yeah, I feel like I'm making the wrong choice here.
What I very well could see is Roman Reigns winning this early in the night, and Kevin Owens taking out Sami Zayn and taking his spot to get in the Royal Rumble later on.
What makes me angriest about the statement that you just made is, once again, shades of you actually doing that, possibly to me.
Just because the storylines are in my head,
the
that
fact that you
play out in real life.
You are a sick bastard, and the fact that you suggested that Kevin Owens would do something that's a poor Sami Zayn a fucking again is.
I know Kevin Owens, man. That's what this comes down to.
You know, if it happens, don't talk. Like, just, ladies and gentlemen, we might take a week break.
Done.
I don't know. All right, and then you know what? Actually, we'll have the episode, and it'll just be the audio of Kevin Owens betraying Sami Zayn again
at every step of the way.
Yeah, I'll just do a video package and just release it as an audio clip. I'll put it on the YouTube channel because we have a YouTube channel. I don't know if you. I don't think anyone knows that, but
yeah, I don't even think I knew that, so that's good.
All right, maybe we'll do some content over there one day, like just record randomness for no good reason.
Makes sense.
Yeah, like we could do like post-match ridiculousness, or we can just like do something at an event.
Okay.
Like Shake Shack outside of the Barclays Center.
Jeez.
Like we're at Shake Shack right now. All right, AJ Styles versus John Cena for the WWE Championship.
Yep. Here we go again. I very well could see Cena get the win here. I don't know. He kind of killed AJ in the promo on Tuesday, and I loved it. We both have said many times that this is when Cena is at his best, when he's just serious. And he also quoted 3 songs from his album. I believe the first 3 songs from his album. Definitely the best 3 songs from his album. And, he was the doctor of thugonomics. He wasn't corny Superman Cena. He was a tough guy.
The only thing that I missed was him saying Jack. I was waiting.
He said homie, so sometimes he switches it.
No, he did say homie, and that was like, oh, but at the very end, I was just like, he's like, and I was just, come on.
Recognize,
like
Jack.
Oh, he had to throw it in right there. But referencing nothing, no, you cannot ever be more legit in your life than 10 years later, 10 years, quoting your own rap album to diss someone. That is I don't know. Like, who can do that? Dre?
Well, anyone who's ever put out a rap album, but that's beside the point.
I'm trying to think of who would step in the wrestling ring. I mean, really, John Cena's like one of the few. If Shaq wrestles at WrestleMania, he could do it, I guess.
Shaq who?
Oh man, amazing! All right,
I think that Shaq could possibly be someone who enters the Rumble. So we could talk about that in a couple of minutes. But I really don't know, man. This is another tough one because, like we're saying, you're going into WrestleMania. You want your big guys, your biggest stars on top, and I can see them putting the belt on Cena, but I think that's a poor move. I think that's a bad move, and I'm praying that AJ finally somehow continues his streak and gets the win.
Here's my thing. I guess I need to understand what's more important to the WWE. John Cena tying Ric Flair's championship record, or John Cena breaking it?
Breaking it?
So, I don't know if it needs to be done at Royal Rumble.
Right. I would agree with tying it at but the Rumble is their third biggest pay-per-view, like when you do it at SummerSlam or something like that?
Do it at Elimination Chamber, because you also, there's less, yeah, but AJ dropping the strap in an Elimination Chamber it's it's like it doesn't
That
put
Mania.
so much on him as losing it, and then he can challenge
Yeah.
back for it at Mania.
Yeah. I don't know. Usually it's not a rematch at WrestleMania. It's I don't know.
Okay, something.
It's something a little off the charts, a little different.
It's the only thing that slightly annoys me about Royal Rumble sometimes is like you have to, when you're looking at it, you're not just
You can't.
Yeah, because you have to think like, what are they doing for WrestleMania?
Right, and everything, literally everything, basically depends on who wins the Rumble. And this year, it also majorly depends on who wins the two title matches. Because if you have Reigns and Cena in the title spot, then literally, anyone can win their Rumble because Goldberg are now majorly in the mix to feud with either of those guys. So it's something that it depends on what happens in those matches, determines the winner of the Rumble. I don't know.
What if Jericho wins?
Ugh.
And then
Do I want to see Jericho win? That's the thing.
Jericho versus Owens, the best friends divided by the fact that he's the number one contender?
Right, but I don't want to see that for the Raw main championship at WrestleMania.
Why? Just because he lost to Fandango at WrestleMania 29?
That doesn't help, but
I just think that's an off-the-wall possibility. I don't know.
Yeah, it is, and so let's just get this out of the way first. Who's winning this match?
It's funny because over for last word on pro wrestling, I'm writing up the Royal Rumble predictions, and I haven't put my part in yet. Like I can't pick someone. There's Jericho's to me is a possibility. With that.
Hold on for the title.
Oh, sorry for the title. Nikes. I'm gonna go. I just said Nikes on air. I'm gonna go with AJ Styles.
Okay, and I'm gonna go with Cena.
If we were betting, you would win a lot of money. This would be a very different show. This show would be very boring.
I'd hate myself.
I'd let you go first every time. Like I'd just be a kind host. I'd be like, "No, your turns, Runz," and then I would just say what you said and then not lose money.
I'm just gonna take the poster boys, man.
All right. So now Rumble.
Yep.
Who are the 8 guys who we don't know about?
I don't know, and I don't think they know. One Samoa Joe. That's one.
Okay. So that's 7 more. Kurt Angle?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Everything he's been saying, yes, I know it's wrestling and people kayfabe and they bullshit, but why announce him in the Hall of Fame and then put him in the Rumble? If he's not going to win the Rumble, he's going to lose, and then what? He has a match at Mania after he's inducted into the Hall of Fame? I don't know.
All right. Yeah, I can't. I figure it's got to be somebody who loses a title match, right? Like, I would hope that Owens could just get a spot instead of having to take Sami Zayn out.
Right. I would rather see him take Sami Zayn out, but that's okay anyway.
How does Seth Rollins factor into all of this?
Maybe one of those spots belongs to Triple H, and Rollins comes out and jumps in beforehand, or runs in the ring and takes him out somehow from that.
All right.
Yeah, we got Miz and Ambrose in there. We Sheamus and Cesaro, probably. That would make some sense, especially if they lose the belts.
I think they're already in it.
Announced already? I'm not sure.
They're already announced.
Yeah, okay. Right. So, I was just throwing out some guys there who were in it. I really don't know who the 8 guys could be. There's always some random Road Dogg, Billy Gunn type legends that just come back, and I don't know how many, if any, we'll see on that. I've heard that they're trying to just focus on these kind of guys, and maybe I want to see the Samoa Joes and whoever else possibly show up from NXT, that type of thing. But other than that, I don't really care to see any legends.
I mean, I'd like to see somebody crazy.
Yes, if CM Punk comes back, that's it. That's the only person. Anyone else, no.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that I want that, like, but that, like, I think at this
That's
point, that's who will make me pop. You know, I'd be like, oh my god!
And you know, they'll always throw out someone who will get us that reaction, but it's not someone that we're going to think of right now.
Hope it's Arn Anderson or no, Mongo.
Yeah, Mongo will get you.
Okay, so I'll ask you, who's 27, and then who wins?
27. Let's give it to Goldberg.
Okay. And who wins?
The beauty of this Royal Rumble is I have no idea. I don't know. There's Balor if Owens keeps it. There's a possibility of Corbin if Cena wins it. There's a possibility of The Miz and AJ turning face. There's I don't know. There's a million possibilities. Goldberg and Reigns, or Brock and Reigns, Strowman and Reigns, or Strowman and someone. I don't know. Taker and Reigns, Taker and Cena. There's a million different ways they can go with this. There's the Wyatts. There's I don't know, man. There's a lot of different ways they can go, and that's beautiful.
All right. So you have officially no one.
As of right now, I have no one. Maybe I'll get someone by the end of the show.
Okay. So because number 27 is the position from where most Rumbles have been won.
Right. It's not going to win this year.
It's going to win this year because number 27 is going to be Undertaker, and he's going to win.
Did you see the Undertaker on Raw? He was fat and did not look like he's in great shape. And then I read that he needs a full hip replacement, and he's trying to put it off until after he retires. And that makes me question how many more matches he has left in him. And
one, he wins this match. He wrestles at Mania and loses.
I don't want to see him win the Rumble. Right? That's such a waste. Yeah, it'd be cool. I don't want to see Fat Undertaker celebrating at the end of the Rumble because it's not. He's the Undertaker, but Fat Undertaker is not believable for me. It's like this guy is a human because now he's fat. He's not the dead man. He's the fat man.
I mean, he stopped being the dead man for me once he started riding a motorcycle to the ring.
Yeah, but then he regained his dead powers. I don't know. I just that part of it never lost it for me. But I don't know. Just seeing him humanized is rough.
Okay, I'll be honest with you. I'm looking at the picture from the from WWE.com. And I think one of the reasons why I picked Undertaker is he's in the middle and he's like pretty big in the picture. So I was looking at the screen and I'm like, I don't know who to pick. There's so many guys. So I was like, Undertaker.
You know, my real pick, and I've been saying it all week or 2 weeks or a month, is Balor. I'm praying Owens keeps the belt and Balor returns in the Rumble, maybe 30, but I'd like to see him early on and he gets the win. And he goes on to Mania. Maybe if he's healthy, maybe he's a 1 or 2, and we get the whole demon entrance, we get everything good, and then he wins the whole thing.
How about Batista?
No. I'm watching Batista Reigns in 2014 right now, and I was thinking about him as a surprise entrant, but maybe, but I don't want to see him.
I can't even. To be honest with you, like I don't know who's gonna win. I can't. Like, I said Undertaker. It doesn't open. Matter what I said. Like I don't know who it's gonna be.
That was a nonsense answer. You know it.
I'm not lying when I say to you that the reason I said that was because it's legitimately right in front of me.
Because it was in front of your face, right?
So
I don't know. You know, it's really, really impossible when both championship matches are so up in the air because those determine who wins the Rumble. You know.
Oh man, it's gonna be a great night, crazy weekend.
It really should be, and you know the possibility of someone like Corbin or someone like that, because to me there's no obvious winner. I'm gonna be behind those guys, the Corbins and the Strowmans, the guys that I'm rooting for, and I actually believe have a chance. You know, they're to me. You don't have Sami Zayn beat Seth Rollins for his spot unless it means something, right? Like either he's getting taken out by Owens or he's winning the Rumble. Like it has to mean something, right? Or it doesn't mean anything, and like they shit on him for it. I don't know.
You're right. It does have to mean something. I'm scared what it means.
Does Triple H take his spot? Like, I don't know. Obviously, we're getting Rollins, Triple H at Mania done, locking in. That was obvious for 6 months, you know, but that's fine. So I don't have a problem with Rollins being out of the Rumble because he's not going to be off the show. He's got to do something, and that means Triple H has to be around.
You're right. I just hope I don't fall asleep. And I'm not. What I just mean, it's starting at. You know what I'm saying? It's starting at 5.
Right.
I just don't want to fall. I really don't want to fall asleep. So, I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I'm actually think I'm looking forward to the full 5 hours. I wish it wasn't 5.
You say that now, but I will enjoy all 5 hours.
All 5?
Is it? It's 6 hours, huh?
God, I can't do math. I don't know. It's Friday, man.
Well, no, it's a 2-hour pre-show, and then the show starts at 7. So.
And then it goes to 11, so that's 4. That's 6 hours. You're right. That's stupid math. Always trying to trick me.
You know, and it's interesting that they moved 2 matches or one more match onto the kickoff. So you have the cruiserweights, you have the 2 title matches, and the women's match, and then the Rumble. So hopefully all 4 or 5 of those matches get a nice amount of time.
This is a lot of wrestling.
Oh yeah, I was just watching the Rumble from 2014, and it was Reigns and Batista, and I completely forgot that Batista won.
Oh, terrible. All right, so we actually have an email. So you want to answer that? All right, here we go.
I don't. Fuck him.
So this is from our friend of the show, Adam. It's written in before. First comment or question: favorite Royal Rumble singles title or non-title match?
The Mankind Rock match.
The what?
Like really, the Mankind and the Rock, the False Count Anywhere, where he obliterated him.
Yeah.
With the steel chair. That stands out to me as one of my more enjoyable ones, but those chair shots are not fun to watch anymore, and it's really disturbing. So that kind of takes it out of it for me, you know?
I mean, that was not the I Quit, because the I Quit was at the I Quit, if I'm right, was at Valentine's Day Massacre. So this was the first time he just used the chair a lot, right?
That was the I Quit. No.
Really?
No, that was the I Quit. Yeah. Yeah, because it's the whole, I quit! And like after he decimates him with the chair, he's just unconscious.
So I'm going to say something crazy, and I'm going to go, oh, wait, I can't pick the singles match. Well...
Isn't that what it is? Singles
yeah.
match.
I mean, I vividly remember, was it Edge versus Rey Mysterio?
That's just because you heard your voice on TV.
But, okay, you heard my voice, why?
Because you hate Rey Mysterio.
Well, yeah, what I'm saying is I was so that wasn't like I'm close enough to get on the video, guys. That was I want Rey Mysterio broken in half with a spear very badly. Like, I was not... There was no consideration...
Does that make it your favorite? Like, I was, like, from that same Rumble, I was like, man, I really enjoyed that Jeff Hardy-Randy Orton match, but I don't think that's my favorite one. I don't know. Like, I would have to really maybe like Shawn Michaels and Sid as the main event. Punk and The Rock was cool. I don't know. The Rumble is usually about the Rumble.
I never. This is a really. It's weird because it's not really trivia. It's just asking us our opinion. I mean, there's also Paul Roma. He beat the Brooklyn Brawler that one time. I'm just trying to look by to see. Like, it's pretty funny.
Repo Man had a match one time.
Most of them. So don't look like late '80s, early '90s because the rest of the card is literally just crap. But I'm thinking. I don't know, man. I don't know if there's anything that. The Brooklyn Brawler won a match at Royal Rumble in 1994.
Cactus Jack and Triple H. That was a good one.
Which one? That was in 2000? Oh, I was there. Yeah, that was a really good one. All right. I'm going to go with that one. Just because I don't want to click anymore. But that was a really good match, and it was, and it had that cool street fighty stuff, because it was, I don't know. I liked it.
Yeah, it was. I agree with that. The two, those two Mick Foley matches.
Oh, wait. We're forgetting, like, a huge match, on a side note. Shawn Michaels. Didn't Shawn Michaels defeat Undertaker at one of the Royal Rumbles? Like,
he beat
kill him?
Sid.
Didn't he kill Undertaker at one?
Wasn't like a casket match, maybe? Isn't that when he broke his back?
Yeah, against Undertaker.
I don't know if that was at a Rumble.
98.
Are you sure about that?
It says Shawn Michaels defeated... Yeah, casket match for the WWE Championship.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's the match. That one was crazy.
Yeah, that was good. And that was sad because that's the end of Shawn Michaels' career, essentially.
All right, so that's one of the most discussed emails we've ever had. And next...
Because, it's... Most of the time, the singles matches aren't the point of the Rumble.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to really even remember all of the ones other than those handful that we just mentioned.
All right, and the last question, second question. Who was supposed to be the original fourth member in Evolution? I know this one, I think. Do you know?
Go ahead.
I think I'm going to get his name wrong, but I see him. No. I thought it was like Samu.
Who?
Like, was his name Samu?
That was Legacy, you're thinking.
Oh, crap.
With like Alpha Jr. or whatever?
Oh, that's what I was thinking, yeah. Okay, so I'm thinking of the wrong stable. So now that completely changes everything. So you had Randy Orton, of course, Batista, Triple H. Who would have been the fourth member around that time period?
Or is Flair in there and not Orton or Batista?
Oh, I feel like Flair would have always been part of it, no?
Yeah, Flair would have been part of it. That's what I was saying.
Oh, so like not...
Yes! You see? I fucking knew it. Yeah! Mark Jindrak, baby.
It is?
Yes! I knew it. Why do I know that?
That's an excellent job of really keeping this podcast... Too. That kept us afloat.
In the newest WWE DVD, that Kingdom Come, Batista was not the original fourth member of Evolution. Mark Jindrak, who now wrestles in Mexico, was supposed to be the fourth member. Even filmed vignettes with him before Batista took his spot.
So much better than... I'm glad I wasn't Sean Stasiak.
Mark Jindrak.
Weird.
Wow. Thank you for bringing that piece of knowledge out of my brain that I didn't know existed. So appreciate that one.
And the funny thing is I'm going, you're so wrong because I'm thinking of Legacy, right? So, I read the question and I'm laughing to myself. I'm like, oh, I know who it is. It's like the Alpha Junior guy, 100%. I remember getting kicked out. I remember him not being accepted. This is perfect. And then you're like, yo, wrong fucking faction. I'm like, oh. Well, Adam, thank you for that email. That was fun.
Yeah, it was. It was a good email.
So before we finish up,
we should get more of those.
Well, that would be great.
Hopefully. Our email is allowing people who we don't know to send emails. Doesn't seem like it.
I won't admit on air that I check the spam folder often to see if someone has sent us an email. So, But
miss anything, please?
if you guys needed any other reasons to send us an email other than just stumping us and asking us crazy questions, you can also enter the Glory Pro contest. We have tickets for the February 19th show, and actually this is the last week we're running the contest. So we'll be announcing the winners on next week's show to give the winner time to make arrangements to go to the event. And that, again, is in Alton, Illinois. It's going to be a crazy card. You're going to have Michael Elgin versus Matt Riddle. Riddle's actually going to be defending his, WCW... Wait, what culture? WCPW? I always forgot the name of the full title. The Atlas title that he won. So there's a lot of good young talent on that show too. So we have 2 second row seats for free. All you gotta do is do the hashtag Big Mike Verse, and you'll be entered into the running.
And I saw on Twitter somebody replied to you saying they were either in Korea or lived in Korea,
Yes.
And just want to say shout out to that guy, because if you're listening to us or even paying attention to us in Korea, that's it's pretty remarkable. So thanks, man.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to that kind of international dedication to our cause is very exciting, and I think this guy deserves a full shout out. So it is IC Saval LWOS. Thank you. He's a writer for Last Word on Sports, so he's part of the network. But this is insane. Thank you so much. And also, we did get a couple names. I'm not going to say them on air, but you guys are entered in the contest, so we'll be announcing the winners next week and sending the winner the information.
Oh, that's great.
All right, and I guess we'll just go into our wind down. Make sure you guys go over to runningwildpodcast.com. Check us out. That's our website. You can see some pictures and some of our content up there and some of our older episodes. You can follow us on Twitter at RunningWildLWOS. You can follow us on Facebook, Running Wild on Wrestling. And make sure you send us any emails to runningwildpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow me at Rich_Laconi on Twitter, and check out my work at pwponderings.com, as well as ringofhonor.com, and Last Word on ProWrestling.com. I think that's everything.
Yeah, I just had one little quick tidbit. Which number wins the Rumble? Just pick a random number.
I'm honestly going with 27.
Okay, I'm gonna say 1.
Jesus. All right. I think we should have some sort of like ridiculous.
Hopefully, we have a texting who's going to come in and who's coming in right now gag running for $1 a spot or something like that. So, we'll continue that, and we'll keep the listeners up there next week.
Yeah, you know what? That's your job. You're good at tallying, so you're gonna mark this down.
Thanks.
And then all you got to do is send me a picture of it, and I'll make it into a pie chart. And we'll post it up with. You know what? Because we're probably not going to get an interview this next week, we're going to post up our results of like our bar graph or pie chart, whatever, as our picture
of the guest and the actual entrant. All right, I'll make a Google sheet.
This is going to be fantastic. All right, guys. With all that out of the way, I just want to remind you that you have been listening to the podcast that is just too sweet.